Oh, okay, guys, what's going on? It's Mike D with Second Form Strength here. And I'll be honest, guys, a lot of the time, maybe you're the same. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing in this life. As in, a lot of times I'm just kind of making shit up in my head and following a path and hoping that it works out. And that's pretty much what most of my life has been. I'm not saying this in a bad or a good way. I'm just saying it as an observation. Um, Man, a lot of the times I'm just going through this thing, failing, picking myself back up, failing again, picking myself back up, not failing for a bit, and then having a big fail, picking myself back up. And, I'm not going to stop picking myself back up. I think that's what I've really, really discovered is the key, um, is always picking yourself back up. Because, sure, there are some people in life that don't really have to pick themselves back up that much. That maybe get everything handed to them. They come from a rich family. They have no bloody genetic skin, bloody psoriasis conditions. I'm sure people watching have got other medical conditions too. I'm not alone in this, but I know I have. I've looked at people that, because I didn't grow up rich, I grew up quite poor. Um, Not saying I grew up like homeless or that we were like always struggling, but there were definitely times we were struggling, especially with, four kids. But, I often look at people who didn't have that, or some of my friends are just only children, or they're, even up until they're in their 30s nearly, they could live at home without having to pay rent. And, I was paying board at 18. And, like it's hard not to sometimes look at people who started out with more than you did, and feel envious and feel like upset and feel like, why do these people not have to pick themselves back up so much? Why do they not have to fail as much? Why is shit just handed to them? And they probably have their own difficulties too, but I think by and large we can agree that, especially financially and all this kind of stuff, there are people out there who definitely through this life do not have to go through that process that I described as much, or sometimes at all. And that can feel really, really unfair. And in a sense, I guess it is. But in another sense, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, no one is going to come along and wave a magic wand and fix shit in your life. And no one is going to pick you up if you're currently going through a tough time and, failing. And I get it. Recently, my diet has not been the best. I haven't been getting a good sleep like resume at all. I've been going to bed at like fucking, sometimes 3 a.m. and waking up at like 11:30, 12. It's like degenerate stuff. No offense to people who wake up at that time, but it's not. It hasn't been. It's not the optimal way I could be, right? Um, and I know there's also part of me that's like, well, you shouldn't focus on optimal as much, but like I said, I've had that with the sleep routine. I've bloody, obviously, because if you've been following some of my videos here, you know that I've quit my job about 4 months ago now, and in between, I've been kind of having Uber Eats, and am on unemployment. Certain things with that too, but it's what they give you is not that much at all. Um, so it's not like I'm getting ahead at all. I'm actually a bit behind, um, in terms of car payments, things like this. I've got to do rego at the end of this month. There's a lot of money things that have to go out that I do not have the money for, and it's very easy at this time to just go, no, fuck it. I'm just going to go back to the workforce. I'm just going to go back to the 9 to 5. I'm just going to go back to it because this is too hard and I can't deal with it. I can't cope. And sure, that would be an easy decision because it's not like can't work or I'm not a good worker or any of that shit. The whole reason I left was because people were abusing the fact that I was such a good worker. So to me, actually, to go back is just more of a betrayal to myself. And I don't care how difficult shit gets, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to fucking do it. And I know people might be watching the video and going, well, you're an idiot then. Well, okay, have fun not having bloody retirement and all this shit. Man, people always say that stuff. And I feel like saying to these people, you're not guaranteed retirement either. You're not guaranteed anything. No one is. So to act so smarmy about someone else's decision, I've never understood it, because I would never do it to someone else. But there are people out there that just love to chime in when you're doing something different, and they love to just go, it's not a good way. My way is better. They love to they can't ever just accept that people want to do different things. They just have to give their 2 cents and then mask it as, oh, I'm just trying to give you advice. It's like, no, you're not. You're trying to make yourself feel superior about whatever choice you've made, because there might also be a hint of you feeling regret at certain choices you made. And you don't want that light to be shown on that, to be shined on that, however you say it, shined. Yeah, you don't want that to be exposed. So instead, you go on the offensive and go, well, no, look, my way's obviously right here. Let me just prove it to myself by telling you what to do and telling you what to do. It's just dumb. But anyway, and I'm sure if you're like me and you've made a decision where you've either left your job or whatever, you do get a lot of that judgment. It is what it is. I made the decision, so it's fine if people want to judge, but at the same time, don't be surprised if I come back and say some shit to your face and you go, oh, you're being so aggressive. It's like, I'm not, but I'm not the type of person that I'm very stubborn when it comes to these type of things, and I will 100% admit that. I've always been this way. I've always been very headstrong in terms of, if I want to do something and people don't agree with it, I don't give a fuck. Honestly, outside, externally, it'll seem like I'm thinking about their opinions, but inside it is, and to be honest, it has served me well throughout most of my life, but it definitely has its drawbacks. And there's definitely moments where I have to temper it and realize, okay, this isn't the time to be stubborn. But anytime it's come to my career or big decisions like that, I've always listened to that inner voice. I've not been someone who has just stuffed it down for practicality. And like I said, that is why I am in the position I am in now financially. But I seriously do not believe that this will be the case in a year. But I will fully accept that, or I would say that I would be willing to accept this state for another 2 years before I go back to the workforce. And that may seem crazy, because shit could happen in between then that would make my circumstances worse. But no. I'm just not. I'm over it, man. I'm fucking over it. I've worked so many different jobs. I'm nearly 32. I've worked in about 10 different industries. I've had 2 startup businesses. And those startup businesses were about 8 years of my career doing screen printing with my brothers. And going from that back to a 9-to-5 working for somebody, it's just, I can't do it. And I refuse to do it. And people can call that entitled, but not really when you're willingly choosing to go broke and put yourself through more struggle to do something for yourself. I'd call it actually courageous, but whatever. People are going to have their different opinions of it. And that's the thing, right? It's very easy if you're going through some losses like I currently am, like you might be, to think, oh no, I've made the wrong decision or whatnot. And I think the way to tell, honestly, at least in my opinion, whether you've made the right or the wrong decision, is that it's that internal voice. Maybe some people it's not as strong, but for me it's always been quite strong. The day I quit, or I think the week before I quit, I used to do the floor cleaning. So I had the machine that would go on the floor. What's it called? It's not a Zamboni. It's we'd just call it a floor scrubber, right? So I'd be the one out in the morning, because I'd start my work at 6 a.m. At this supermarket. I'd be the one in the morning doing the whole morning clean. So I'd go through the whole shop floor, up and down all the aisles. I think there are about 14 aisles. And I just remember one day just going through the chip aisle, just fucking picking up the half-eaten apples and all the shit people would leave under there for $27 an hour. Working under a manager who would just abuse the fact that I did extra shit, and so in the morning would get me to do the shit he couldn't do on his shift, plus my own stuff. And then if stuff wasn't done, it'd be like, oh, why didn't this get done? Be like, really? You wanted me to do my job plus your job, and how much do you get paid an hour compared to me? Nearly double? All this stuff. So I was just thinking of that, going down the chip aisle, and I literally just had a voice like inside me, pretty much just be like, "You're done. Get out of here. Seriously, get out of here. Get out of here." And it wasn't in my, like, of course it was in my head. I'm sure, I'm willing to admit that, but it was a feeling as well. It was a very strong. It's very hard for me to describe, but I'm sure some of you could relate. It's just that internal voice that just tells you, and it's right, and by listening to it, you're going to put yourself in some very, very uncomfortable situations. And believe me, I've been through a lot of uncomfortable situations in the past 4 months with my relationship, because of the fact, and just to clarify, my relationship's stronger than ever now, coincidentally. But the initial stages, for sure, there's some very uncomfortable periods. And that's the thing. I think that's why a lot of these people that will tell you, oh, you shouldn't do this, you should just focus on all your savings, go the smart route. These are the people that are intentionally drowning that voice out. A lot of them. There are some people who are genuinely doing what they want to be doing, but most of us aren't. And when you aren't, that voice knows, and it will call you out on your bullshit. And so I think those people, they either have just gotten used to pushing that voice down when it comes up, or their circumstances have led them to a position where they genuinely think they cannot even listen to that voice. There's too much at stake. I'm lucky in the sense that, well, not really. I won't even say lucky. It's just a choice I made. I don't have kids. We don't want kids. We live with a roommate to share rent. I have a car loan and I have some dumb credit card stuff, but all in all, I don't have like massive student loans or like big, huge repayments. My car's my biggest one. And I don't have kids, and I don't have all these, I'm not going to say liabilities, but these expenses, like this is more expense that you're adding to your life. All these things need money. So you kind of put yourself in golden handcuffs. And a lot of people have put themselves in those handcuffs, but have mastered a success. Like, oh, I've got this big mortgage I'm paying back, but look, I got my own house. Oh, look at my new cars. I get it with the car. I mean, my car is a Swift. It's not a fancy one. But even still, like, I get the want to do it. And that's when I was working and having that mentality, like I just described, that was the way I was thinking. It was like, well, I want to do it so I can get the things because the things are nice. But the things don't bring you anything. Buying more shit brings you nothing except just more stuff to look after. Like, I don't know. I like my retro game collection. That's one thing physically I do like spending some money on when I have it. And I do enjoy smoking a little bit of the marijuana every now and again. So I have money aside from that. And I'm not going to apologize for any of that too. I know people will be like, why do you do it? Man, who cares? This is the thing. Like, everyone's so judgmental with everything, but they're not looking at how a person like lives. Like, for me, it's not been a problem, and I do take breaks from it too. Like, I recently took a week off, and I've had times where I've taken years off before as well. It's just a thing that comes and goes in my life, and I'm not fucking all finicky about it. But the major point is that if I have one or two things that I use that genuinely can bring me some comfort or happiness, I don't mind. But it's when it gets to the point where you're just spending, you're buying new watches, you're buying new clothes, you're going on vacations all the time, but you don't actually have that money. Like, if you're doing it on credit cards, or you're going, okay, well, I'm gonna get this money from work, so I can pay for this whole vacation, but it means I'm gonna need to be putting in overtime hours. Like, when it gets to that point where it's spilling over, I just feel like, what's the point? I just feel like I don't see the allure of having that nice new car or getting that nice new house unless you have the cash money for it now. I've really been trying to get consciously better at, like, even knocking down what I spend the money on. This is why I said I took the breaks from the weed too, to not spend as much money on that. Still something I want to keep, but not as often. And same with like ordering out food. It's why I got myself into good shape, so I could learn to eat better and cook my own food, and then I wouldn't be spending money on takeout all the time. And I'm not perfect, like I just told you guys before. I'm in a period now where I've gotten some takeout, and but it's about realizing those moments and being more honest with yourself. And now that I've built the trust with myself of going through periods of discipline, I know that when I have these periods where shit kind of falls away a little bit, it's that close to getting all back together. It really is. It's one or two good decisions from getting yourself back on your feet. So if you're going through a difficult patch at the moment, maybe you're smoking too much, you're drinking too much, obviously we want to stop that, right? We don't want it to continue. But you're not going to stop it by beating yourself up, by saying you're a piece of shit, by just being really angry with yourself. Trust me, I've tried it. It does not work. It is not a good route. All it does is make you feel worse and makes you more likely to keep indulging in those things. What you need to do is you need to raise your frequency, right? And for me, the way I raise my frequency is by working out, by eating good foods. Breath work is another great thing, for even 5 minutes in the morning. I would also say don't be on your phone as much. I've noticed a huge change the more I've kept my phone away, and also the more that I've not looked at it in the morning and also before I go to bed at night. When I'm doing that consistently, mental health is so much better, frequency is raised. And when you're in a higher frequency, that's when you're more likely to stick to the good habits, because the good habits are just what matches your frequency. You're in a good frequency, you want to do the good habits, right? That's when we're more likely to keep up the workout routine, when we're going to have better relationships, when we're going to have better sex, when we're going to have better objective experiences overall in life, is when we're in a higher frequency. But you can only get there from treating yourself well. So if you're going through a shit period right now, it's just counterintuitive to add more negativity to that. And also by listening to people that are putting you down for that, right? Even if their intentions may be good. Some people are absolutely fucking just terrible at communicating. And even though their instinct is, yes, they want to help you, it's a good pure instinct, the way they come across is like, bro, have you never fucking talked to anyone? Like they'll just do it. Just don't be a pussy. Just do it. Like that kind of stuff. It's like, man, I want to slap those dudes when they say it to me. It's like, bro, shut up. That's not the way to do it. Okay. The way to do it is to say, yes, okay, this isn't good. This isn't who I am. This isn't this isn't the standard I have for myself. We need to raise the standard because it's going to help us. Okay. And just start with one thing. I have a video previously about not trying to spin plates at once. So if you've got one really bad habit you're doing at the moment, just start by focusing on getting that out of the way. You can keep the other ones. I'm not going to be this dude that tells you you have to get rid of all of it. But whatever the worst one is, focus on that first. And then work your way, across. It's like debt snowballing. It's the same thing with that. What do they say? Pay off, well, I believe they say pay off the smallest one first. And you could do it that way too. I personally, if there's something big that was annoying me, I would focus on that. So for me, it was, like I said in the previous video, my weight and everything and getting my food habits under control. And so I focused on that, but I let the other smoking habits stay until I then focused on them afterwards. And now I haven't smoked a cigarette for, God, quite a while, to be honest. I haven't gone back to smoking packs of cigarettes or anything like that in months, since I've been on the diet thing too. So it worked. But I didn't do both those things at the same time. I did one and then the other. But you can start at the smallest thing too. If there's a real easy thing you can fix, like not drinking as much or dropping your drinks down from 14 in a week to 7, that's still progress. You got to look at it like there's still progress. Do not try to be one of those dudes that goes, no, I'm just going to white knuckle it, because most likely you can't. And the only way you could white knuckle it, potentially, is when your frequency is high enough. But you're not going to ever raise your frequency to that high level by trying to do something really difficult. You're going to most likely try and then plateau. And even if you did, you didn't go through the stages. So if you go really high all of a sudden, it's going to be hard to maintain that. Whereas if you gradually raise your frequency and stay there, that's where the magic happens. So I guess this video was more about raising your frequency. I intended it to kind of just be a thing to say, look guys, I'm struggling too, because sometimes I feel like we can see a lot of videos that makes it seem like everyone's, got shit all together. And there are even some videos I put on my channel before where I had that air of, I'm not going to delete them, but I had that air of, I've got everything figured out. Well, the truth is I don't. I have some good ideas. I have very good advice, but I often don't take it myself. But I'm getting better at actually using it in my own life too. And these videos are helping me try to get those ideas out. You know, they're as much helpful to me as they are to you guys. At least I hope some of you are getting some help from these videos. But yeah, that's what I would say. That's what I would end this video with. If you're in that spot right now, you can get out of it, but you just need to do small things to raise your frequency. Okay. Don't expect it to happen overnight, and just do not sweat shit. Like, you know, if other stuff is falling apart, just trust in yourself that you will figure it out. But if you really want to start raising your frequency, you need to focus on tackling one at a time and just sticking to that one thing, right? If you're saying to yourself, okay, I want to go on a 30-day, no porn, none of that, cool, just focus on that. Do not in the meantime then try to go on a health kick and all this shit. I know it seems tempting to, but just don't force it. Do not try to. You know, you might find on day 15 and you've eaten junk food or whatever up until that point, and day 15 you just magically don't feel like it. That's cool, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, do not try to force that from day one. Okay, just focus on the one task, on getting that sorted, and then you jump to the next thing that you want to focus on. But yeah, that's it guys. I hope that helped, and yeah, I will catch you in the next video. Peace.